Right now, here tonight at 5 o'clock, Louisville's jail is risking more lives lost, lawsuits, and potential federal intervention if it doesn't make major changes. That's according to a new report issued today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. The findings, detailed in more than 400 pages, again target the need for a new facility. WHAS11's Isaiah Kim Martinez spent the day digging through the report. And Isaiah, we've heard the calls for a new jail for some time now.
Well, Shay, Doug, David Byer, the man appointed to dig into this investigation that lasted a year, has said previously that the Metro Corrections building is both outdated and inadequate. But today, in his final report released to the public, he really explains why. Much of it comes down to supervision. Byer notes the current jail design, as you see it in photos provided, creates blind spots, preventing officers from having constant direct oversight. He says this allows inmates to more easily harm themselves and funnel contraband inside. The report also highlights the building lacks the space for medical and mental health services to be provided properly. Now, Metro Council President Marcus Winkler says funding for a new facility would be years away, but they could start coming up with a plan now.
I think when you look at that facility, it's probably past its functional life, and that we should begin work to look at what should a new and modern facility look like. And that includes things like mental health and substance abuse services.
And meanwhile, Byer largely blames prior city leadership for allowing problems to fester. That includes lackluster training and short staffing. But he makes it clear current jail director Jerry Collins, who just started over a year ago, is making a lot of good reforms, and that they shouldn't all fall on him to fix on his own. Now, the report also came with a list of 22 recommendations, one of them to create separate housing for those suffering from mental health challenges as well as nonviolent offenders. Another recommendation is to establish an audit unit within LMDC. That's to ensure proper policies are being followed. Doug.
Isaiah, thank you very much. Ahead of this report, the jail director Jerry Collins and Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg announced reforms that they are bringing to Metro Corrections to increase transparency. Metro Corrections Department dashboard will display daily information about the jail's population and its size. A certified mental health professional will now be present 24 hours a day, so everyone will be screened as they enter the jail. And finally, the jail will be ending its partnership with WellPath, a healthcare provider, which had caused controversy with the community in the past.
New today, a banner is up on Bluegrass Parkway in J-Town recognizing LMPD's hero officer Nicholas Wilt. The massive banner reading "Wilt's Louisville." It is hanging on the building in support of the officer who remains in the hospital following a gunshot to the head and a battle with pneumonia.
I just really think that this shows how Louisville feels about its police, the love that we have for them, the appreciation, the incredible people that they are. We have all come together and we're showing them.
The latest Hometown Hero banner was put up with support from the LMPD Foundation. More news right here at 5 now. Today, protesters gathered in the small northern Kentucky city of Carrollton, speaking out after the Carroll County Sheriff's Department hired Miles Cosgrove. Cosgrove was the officer who fired the shot that killed Breonna Taylor. He was fired from LMPD in January of 2021, but never faced charges for his role in the raid that night.
Grace McKenna and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton headed to Carroll County this morning to share the message from the protesters and what the sheriff's office has to say about it.
Protesters we spoke with say they don't feel safe in this community anymore, knowing that Miles Cosgrove is working for the department, and that's what brought a couple dozen of them out here today. Voices of protest joining in a familiar call.
No justice, no peace.
This time not on the streets of Louisville, but Carrollton, where former LMPD officer Miles Cosgrove is now working for the county sheriff's department.
Somebody had said they walked into McDonald's and saw him on duty, and basically they were devastated.
About 24 protesters gathered here Monday saying they don't want Cosgrove, who fired the shot that killed Breonna Taylor during the 2020 raid on her apartment, policing their hometown.
I could trust the majority of the cops right here, but with him here now, I don't feel comfortable at all.
Carrollton is home to about 10,000 people, and this weekend, Chief Deputy Rob Miller said Cosgrove's experience could be beneficial.
For our small department that he offered some experience and expertise.
Miller said Cosgrove was never indicted, never had his certification revoked, and has support from others in the community.
Most people that we've talked to think it's a good thing. Some people have said it was a bad thing and there was no justice, and of course that's their opinion.
Ho, ho! Cosgrove has got to go!
These voices disagree.
I've lived here my whole life and I have plenty of friends here, family here, and I don't feel safe having him here in this town. Like, this is a very small town. There's not a lot of, action here, so it's just, he really doesn't need to be here.
And here, watched by police and neighbors.
I think something should be done, but I'm not 100% if it will be done,
Breonna Taylor!
They made that voice
Breonna Taylor!
loud and clear. In Carrollton, Grace McKenna, WHAS11, on your side.
The Carroll County Sheriff's Department tells us Cosgrove started on the force on April 20th.
We've learned the name of the man killed in a shooting Sunday morning in the Park Duval neighborhood. Marcus Reed died on Cypress Street near West Galbert around 8. Police later arrested 31-year-old Antoine Roach, who is now charged with murder and possession of a handgun by a convicted felon.
And a teenager is facing charges tonight in connection to a shooting in Radcliffe. According to the police chief, this happened around 6:30 last night near Kingswood Way and Clear Ridge Lane. No word yet on what led to the shooting, but a 17-year-old has been charged with attempted murder, possession of a handgun, and 7 counts of wanton endangerment. We'll let you know when we find out more information.
Also new tonight, a Louisville priest accused by his parishioners of financial misconduct was reassigned by the Archdiocese of Louisville, we've learned. Father Christopher Rhodes was the priest for St. Augustine, Immaculate Heart of Mary, and Christ the King churches in West Louisville. In 2020, several people protested the priest, saying they went over financial records and saw the numbers just weren't adding up. The congregation expressed issues with the Archdiocese, saying that they weren't being heard. We don't know exactly why Father Rhodes was removed, but he has now been reassigned to the Immaculate Conception Church in LaGrange, Kentucky, in Oldham County.
And a Louisville grand jury has cleared the former Moore High School basketball coach previously accused of assaulting a student. Court records say Richard Gatewood got into an argument with a student who he is related to inside the high school's gym. Police say Gatewood grabbed the middle schooler and slammed him on the bleachers, then put the child in a chokehold. But a Jefferson County grand jury found no true bill on these charges, dismissing the case. A JCPS spokesperson confirms Gatewood is no longer an employee with the district.
At around 5 this morning, Bellarmine University's production trailer that it uses for its broadcasts of its sporting events was stolen. Now here's some of the pictures of the trailer sent out by LMPD. LMPD says the trailer cost roughly $1 million. It's a television trailer that is used to produce in the broadcast of Bellarmine sporting events. LMPD say they believe a white pickup truck was in the area and stole the trailer. Anyone with information is asked to call the LMPD anonymous tip line at 574-LMPD.
It is frosty mornings, just like this morning, which is why they tell you don't plant until Derby, Doug.
Don't, just hold off, just hold off. I know a lot of us violate those rules, but as I was telling folks around the station, I don't think we have any sheets at our house in the house anymore. They're all outside. They're all outside. And Ben, this is really, Thunder kicks it off, the 2 weeks to Derby, but it's also your two weeks of the most important forecast you all will put out.
No doubt about that. And yeah, it was a spring freeze this morning. I'm getting a workout, bringing the ferns inside, outside over the last couple of days. And another night we'll have some cold temperatures. This is a look at the low temperatures we had this morning, mostly below freezing in the city, 36 degrees. And we could have some similar numbers later on tonight. Right now in the mid 50s, running about 15 degrees below normal for this time of the year, thanks to a north and northwest breeze out there. But a lot of sunshine. Live view with our Hughes and Coleman cam, part of our U of L Health camera network, and it will be dry over the next couple of days. Our temperatures pretty evenly spread here in the low to mid 50s. Some jacket weather for this evening and tonight. Frost advisory for counties just off to the east of Metro Louisville for tonight and early tomorrow morning. All quiet conditions on the radar, and Futurecast shows our temps in the 40s for much of this evening. Our overnight low temperatures falling down to the 30s, just some high clouds passing on through. Some more sunshine tomorrow afternoon and a bit warmer as we head into the low and middle 60s instead of the 50s. 50s. So some frosty spots tonight. Low temperature again around 36. Could be some colder countryside areas. 50s at lunchtime tomorrow, and our high temperature up to 65 for tomorrow afternoon. I'll show you when our next rain chance will arrive, plus looking at the temperature trend through Derby week coming up.
Ben, thank you. One group is trying to reverse years of redlining in Kentuckiana. Today, the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund launched its new program. They're calling it Revert.
The initiative aims to help families impacted by the discriminatory practices used since the 1930s. Alexis Jones was at the announcement today. She has more on the new program.
Erasing red lines.
It is an urgent need to build a safer city, a stronger city, and a healthier city.
Leaders in Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund announced a new initiative to reverse decades of discrimination. Redlining is a practice of denying home loans to people in certain areas based on race or perceived risk. Executive Director Chrissy McCravey says this contributed to inequality across the country and West Louisville.
But the tide has changed and there is a convergence on investment.
Thanks to an idea from Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey, millions in ARP funds will now go towards residents impacted by redlining. 200 families looking to buy a home in a previous redline area will be awarded up to $50,000 to renovate it. Remaining funds will then be used to document, market, and implement the Revert program.
It is the statement to this community that not only do we understand that there were wrongs that were done, but we're willing to make the investments to fix it.
Dorsey says the program will also ensure credit and home ownership readiness to break all barriers.
Because when we begin to lift up the lowest of this community, we all rise.
In Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHAS11 on your side.
Eligible families can start applying for the Revert program in May. You can find more information on eligibility and how to apply on our website, WHAS11.com.